Fatima, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to be attending the Open Forum 2014. I'm really looking forward to the whole day.
You know, it's very interesting to learn about you at the age of 22. You competed in the Chops show, and then you won the $10,000 award. What would be good to learn from you is, from a Pakistani American descent, how challenging was it to get into this passion of yours, to pursue this?
Right. Well, I mean, growing up in Pakistan, obviously, a culinary career isn't exactly something that is considered to be like an auspicious career. Obviously, more traditional occupations like becoming a doctor, engineer, lawyer, etc. were the ones that were put forth in front of me. But I was cooking from such a young age, and I think I was about 5, and I was in the kitchen with my grandmother, I was in the kitchen with my dad, and I decided at about 15 that this was something that I really wanted to pursue professionally. And the more I researched into it, and the more I practiced, really, the more I showed my parents how passionate I was about cooking. They decided that it was the right choice for me, and they really encouraged me to go ahead. And I moved to New York when I was 18, and I attended the Culinary Institute of America. I got my bachelor's, and then right after I graduated, I started working with Patina Restaurant Group in New York City.
One thing is to be passionate about food, because in our culture, we don't have a process. Most of our family members are good cooks, and they cook for a limited number of people.
Right.
But if you ask them to repeat it, it won't come out the way it came out last time.
Right.
So this is a big challenge. So when we go out to eat, we always complain, oh, I could have made so much better. But you can't, because there's a matter of process, there's a matter of scale. I have a two-part question. One is, how does one address this particular challenge? And two, somebody has to be really inspired by something to pursue this as a career. So if you can address this.
Sure. As far as the recipes are concerned with Pakistani cooking and cuisine, I feel like, every family has something very traditional to them. It's something that's been passed down by generations, something that we brag about, that my nano, like my mother, whoever, they make the best, and you fill in the blank, they make the best nehari, they make the best halim. And for me, it's all revolves around like where we come from, who we are as a people, as a nation. It's so cultural. It all really ties into food, and that's what makes families come together and do something particular. I mean, for me, I don't think it's really the consistency of the food that's set forth again and again, but it's sort of like that wow moment that you have. Like one of my favorite dishes, obviously, it's so classic. It's biryani, and every biryani is so different, and I feel like that's what makes it so magical, is that I know when I go to your house and you cook me biryani, it's going to be completely different than if you would come to mine and I would cook it for you. But the essentials are the essentials. It has to be perfectly cooked rice, it has to be perfectly seasoned, there has to be like black peppercorns and saffron and some sort of meat in it and potatoes. And I think that's why it's so special, because we have our families take on such classic dishes. And as far as like the passion behind really getting into the industry is concerned, coming from Pakistan where you see so much poverty, it's really heartbreaking to know that there are families that go, days without 3 meals a day, 3 square meals. And to us, it's we don't really think about it, but to them it's such a luxury. And I thought that if I could actually take something that's so essentially basic in life, which is food, and create it in a way that could reach the people, who may not usually get that, it would be something that would be so wonderful, because not only am I getting to do what I love, but I'm also helping my country at the same time. And food is something that breaks all boundaries. Food is something that doesn't have a language. It doesn't need a language, really. And it's so beautiful in its particular, nuances.
So in one state, it is very fulfilling as a career. The next is, you are being a role model, empowering a lot of other younger people to follow this path. The question again is, there is a glamour quotient to it as well lately. But the bigger challenge which I'm trying to learn from you is, how do we cross that barrier of being a gourmet chef and coming into that form of a process for the food? So every time you do it, it comes out consistently,
right,
compared to what you do at home.
Right.
So how do you overcome that challenge? Is it part of the training?
Okay. Well, working in a professional kitchen, you're ingrained with that. That's so important. When you go to a restaurant, you can't have one meal one day that is fabulous and then you go back the next day and it's not acceptable. So yes, you have to have a process when it comes to working in a professional kitchen. I always write my recipes down. I've been working on it for years. Like I have a book, and every day I'm adding to it. And really, I think in this industry particularly, the saying of practice makes perfect, it really shows. The more you do something, the better you get at it. And it becomes muscle memory, And the biggest thing for me is that you have to use your palate. Like you have to be tasting all the time. I literally have a spoon in my pocket the entire day when I'm working at the restaurant. I'm always tasting, because you begin to realize the different levels of a dish, and the complexities within it. You begin to realize the balance that it needs, and that's why your recipes are so important. If you miss one ingredient, it could ruin something. It's as simple as that.
What's the next in line for you in terms of creating fusion food? You indulge in food from Pakistan now that you are here in New York. A lot of people try to blend foods and call it very generic and fusion food.
Right.
But is there something you are working on that you'd like to share with us, that this is where we should next time try and
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I'm working on a concept that probably hasn't been really seen before. Essentially, I feel like Pakistani food is one of the best cuisines in the world. I just do. And it is because of the time and the care and the love that goes into every dish. And having such a strong European background, I love to take very classic French, Italian, and Spanish dishes and then mold them with the spices that I grew up with, So I'm trying to really showcase Pakistani food in a very playful, really eclectic, and really modern way to the American public, which they haven't seen before. And it's a restaurant concept that's in the works, and it's gonna come around soon enough.
Well, thank you so much. Wishing you all the best, and I guess we can't wait to hear the next version of the fusion food coming out of the kitchen.
That's great.
Again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.